Well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, bird. Bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Bird is a word. Well, a bird, don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody knows that the bird is a word. Well, a bird, bird. The bird is a bird.
Hey, this is Roadman 316 once again. Here we are out here at the field across the street from the house, or the apartment. We're going to be doing some more testing, some return to home tests. We're going to find out if we can push pause while it's returning to home, and will it stop, and this, that, and the other. And yesterday we landed it at 21% battery power because we took off from across the street over there in a little tiny area. But today we're out here in the field. We're taking off from the field, so we're going to find out what happens when that battery gets below 21%. If it brings herself home or returns to land. That's where I got it set up, return to land, from right here, you know, right there. So here we go. We're going to arm the motors. Stand back a little bit in case this thing decides to hop up and bite me or something. And remember, it says push, hold, fly to start the motors, just like this. There we go. We're going to do another auto takeoff like this. Have 11 satellites. It looks like she is probably about 6 feet off the ground right now. She went just a little bit higher. Now, we didn't do any calibrations of any kind because we flew here yesterday. So we're going to find out, does she remember where she flew yesterday? Which I think she does. She's hovering nice and steady. Just a little bit of difference because there's a little bit of wind blowing. I'm going to do a quick yaw. That's full yaw right there. But that's as fast as you need to be as far as when you're going to be filming. So you don't need to be spinning around like a crazy top or anything because it's a camera bird. You're not supposed to be doing that kind of crazy stuff unless you want to, but I don't want to. Okay, I have the speed setting in medium. We're going to find out what it does. I'm going to raise her up just a little bit. Now I'm going to push forward medium speed. She gets to move on pretty good medium speed. I'm going to bring her back around this way. I'm doing 180 and we'll come flying over my head in medium speed. You get an idea of how fast she's going to go. She's going pretty good. Watch this. Here we go. Moving pretty good. That's medium speed. I'm going to raise her up a little bit more. So that would be neat if there's a camera on here. You can do a raise and a twirl. I call it a raisey twirl, I guess. She's doing just fine. She is, well, altitude 44 feet. But I thought I had this set up in meters, but it'll be okay. We got 12 satellites. 12 satellites, 87% battery. You can see it right there. And she's just sitting right there, and the wind is pretty breezy. It's coming from my back. I'm gonna push forward. Medium speed. Full stick. And that wind's get to her a little bit. Okay, now what we're going to do now, we're going to push forward a little bit more. We're not going to go out to the street though. We're going to be at the edge. And now comes the return to home test. Now we're going to hit return to home. Now the return to home altitude is set at 210 feet. We're going to see if she raises up. And she's about 44 feet in altitude and 118 feet away from where I'm standing. So we're going to hit return to home and see what happens. Let's hope for the best. And while she's returning home, I'm going to push pause and see if I can get out of it. Here we go. Return to home. and she's raising up. Yeah, she's raising up. 80, 90, 100, still going. 120 something, 130 something, 140, 50. Wow, she's up there good. 160, 70, 80, well, 82 feet. Okay, she's right over my head, and I'm going to step back because I don't think I want her to land on my head. Something that big and something that powerful. Now I'm going to push pause and see what happens. Now that killed the return to home. She stopped right there at 75 feet because she was on her way down to land somewhere, either on my head or on that platform or somewhere close. So I pushed pause and she stopped right there. I'm going to push forward again. Well, first, oh, she's facing me. That's wild. Let me turn around. I don't know how she did that. I never had no settings in there for it to face me. But anyway, it's all good. Okay, I'm gonna put her right there. I'm gonna see if we can make adjustments while she's hovering. I'm gonna turn that adjustment back down to slow as far as performance. I got it on medium. Oh wait a minute, it's very slow. Huh, that's crazy. Oh well. I'm gonna put it right here where you can see where it says slow. I'm gonna back out of that. It's gonna be back into the, well, if it had a camera you could see the store up there, Rick's Mini Market up there. But being there's no camera on here right now, I'm still waiting on my Firefly 6S camera. I'm gonna do another return home. This time I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm gonna send her up a little bit higher. Send her out a little bit more like that. Okay, now, see, I lost orientation. Oh my goodness, where am I? Well, I guess I gotta bring her home. Here we go. Return to home. And she's going up. Now, I'm gonna step back a little bit more because something that big, you don't want that big thing laying on your head. And we're up at 170, 180, 180. Wow, we're going up, well, we're going up to 200 feet. 210. 215. Here she comes. Oh, she turned around facing me. Here she is. That thing moves. I was looking at the screen and that thing was moving. Now the transmitter is pulsing. It's got a little vibration device inside of it. It's pulsing. It's kind of like a beep. It's not beeping, but it's going to beep, boop, you know, like a pulsing. Now here she comes. Where she automatically faces you. Okay, she got caught up in this little bit of vortex ring state there coming down. She slowed down a whole bunch. Now I'm not touching the transmitter. You can tell right here. No hands on the sticks or anything. And we're going to see. Wow, it's not bad. And she cut herself off. She landed and cut herself off. Now, I'm going to pick her up and put her back over here on the platform and hope she don't bite me. I'm going to turn this around this way. Technically, you're supposed to take off into the wind, but, well, I better turn it back around this way. It's always better to take off into the wind because in case something happens, the wind will blow it back to you. I'm going to pick her up, put her back over here, and hopefully she won't bite me. Because this thing bites hard. I'd rather be attacked by a dog than this thing. This thing will tear you up. A dog will tear you up pretty bad too, but this thing here will tear you up worse than a dog ever thought about tearing you up. We're going to restart the motors and we're going to go up again. I'm trying to hold the transmitter up so that you can see what I'm doing here. And we're going to do a manual takeoff and see how it goes. Manually taking off. I'm used to the manual takeoffs, that's just me. But auto takeoff and auto land is not bad. Now I landed manually yesterday. But what we're going to do, we're sitting on 12 satellites, 65% battery power. I noticed when she came home a while ago, let me push forward a little bit because she's making a little noise here. Okay, I'm going to push forward there and get her away so you can hear me better. And I noticed when she was coming back that last time, she kind of got a little wobbly. You know, before she settled down and started descending on that last return to home. But the reason I have that 210 feet return to home is make sure I clear anything. Any trees, any buildings. I don't think there's any buildings around here that's 200 feet tall, especially in this field. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to fly around and get to know this bird better. And then we're going to find out what happens to this battery when it gets down below 20%. This video is going to be a little long, but I'm new to the solo, and I'm sure there's a couple other guys out there and girls out there that's new to the solo also. They would need to know these things. I need to know these things too. Because I'm planning on, I got nice big plans for this bird right here, I tell you. I'm going to do a full throttle punch right quick, see. That's full throttle. But, I mean, hey, it's a camera bird, and it's not to be expected to be a racer or anything. But it does have these features in here where you can make it fast as lightning, but I'm not going to do it. Because it's a camera bird, and that's what it's intended for. But if you have wild hares, I'm not going to say any details, but if you have a wild hare someplace, and you just got to have this thing as an acro monster, it can be done. But I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to fly it as a camera bird and have fun. Here we go. But one good thing about today, even though it's cloudy, the sun is behind the clouds and we're not getting blinded today. Now the clouds might burn off, the fog might burn off, and we might get blinded, but hopefully it won't be this morning. I mean, look how steady this bird flies. I mean, this doesn't have a gimbal of any kind on it, but the camera has a stabilizer in it. Well, the one I'm getting. Let me go up just a little bit more. And she's above the trees over there. You can't hardly see her. Let me bring her back down where you guys can see her. Bring her on down. Still keeping forward motion. Preventing vortex ring state. We don't want this big bird in the vortex ring state at all, because this thing here will fall quickly, because I've heard this thing weighs about 4 pounds. And we don't want this thing to fall on our head, or fall down anyway. Now I kept saying yesterday, let me let her sit right there for a minute. We are 118 feet away from us, and I can see those legs. I kept saying arms yesterday, it's the legs. I have the neon red striping on the legs. I'm gonna bring her down just a little more. I'm gonna do a low pass. Hopefully she won't hit me. I'm gonna bring it right there, and I'm gonna do a low pass right over us. Here she comes. I'm gonna stop, let her hover right above her heads. Bring down a little more. Okay, bring her over this way a little more. I'm flying nose in here. It's always a good idea to learn how to fly nose in and nose out, nose sideways and everything else. I'm going to turn around, I'm going to back her up to us. I'm going to walk her up to her right quick. You can see the gravedigger ghost on the side. I'm going to bring her around this way a little bit like this. I'll back up just a little bit. You'll notice the hourglass. It's got an hourglass like a Black Widow on there. I figured that'd be pretty cool. Because it's a mean bird, I figure might as well make it look like the meanest it can look, you know. With the Black Widow hourglass and everything. And she's below tree level, but you can see those legs really good. I mean, this right here, even though you don't have a gimbal on here, it should be very steady, even though if your camera has its own stabilizer in it, like digital stabilization. I can feel the wind from over here. I mean, you can probably hear it in the microphone. This thing makes so much wind, I think it makes a hurricane jealous. We're going to do a full throttle or full pitch takeoff. Here we go, full pitch, wide open. And we stop right over there. 34% battery, and we got 12 satellites. The transmitter battery is looking good. And I found out earlier that you can check the transmitter battery level by simply tapping the power button. And it shows a picture of a battery showing how full the battery is. That's a good feature. No more guessing. Well, let's see, how much power do I have in my batteries? Well, I gotta get the voltmeter out and check the voltage of every battery and everything. And not with this one, you don't. You just simply push a little button and pow, there it is. I borrowed that from DJ Soulforce. Let me do it right. Pow! There we go. That's how DJ does it. We're just flying around until this battery gets down to a certain level. We're going to find out what happens. I hope it's not going to be a catastrophic disaster, because we don't... See, look at this. Check this out. Let me back up a little bit. I'm right over that tree, bush, whatever that thing is. Let me get a little bit this way, like this. There we go. Oh, it's not doing it. What? Let me get a little lower. There we go. Now look at that. Look at that tree, whatever that thing is. It's blowing like a hurricane. That's something else. We're at 26% battery. I'm gonna get away from that thing so it won't try to land on top of that thing. Now we're just going to continue to fly around. We're at 26% battery. I'm hoping. Yep. Low battery warning just kicked in. I guess 25% battery because the transmitter vibrated. It's kind of like having your phone on vibrate, how it's got a little motor in there, it vibrates and whatnot. But we're gonna lower the altitude just a little bit, so in case it does something goofy, it won't get hurt, you know. We're gonna fly around low level, close by, and we're gonna run this battery down until this baby decides to land herself, which hopefully she will. Flying her close by here. My friend David Grima in Perth, West Oz, he has one on the way. He has one of these birds on the way. And seeing my video yesterday, he is more eager than usual to get his. He's even found some headlights and tail lights and everything for it. He said he's going to mod this puppy real good. You don't blame him. Make it your own, man, you know. You don't want it to look like every other one out there. You want it to be your own. Personalize it. I'm right there in front of that tree there. Let me stop for a sec. Now you can see those legs. We're about 62 feet away. 16% battery, 12 satellites. And we're going to find out. Yeah, it beeped 3 times. It says return home soon. 16%, we're going to let it sit there. We're going to see what happens. I'm hoping nothing crazy happens. 14% battery. Bring it just a little bit closer. Now she might do one of them 200-foot shots. Maybe, or she might just land where she is. I don't know. I'm going to bring her right over here and let her hover about right there. Let her hover right there. 13% battery, 12 satellites. And we need to know this stuff. Now Danny, Drone Worship, he's got one of these things, and he knows a whole lot about them. Now he's telling us a few things about them because, I mean, we can't ask Danny everything because it's up to us to learn this stuff ourselves. It's up to me and David and whoever else gets a solo to learn about it on our own. Okay, here we go. The transmitter is vibrating again, and there's a little symbol that says returning home. 10% battery, flight battery critically low. You hear it beeping? And she is landing herself. I'm not touching anything. See, she landed herself at like 10% battery. I mean, we need to know these things. We got one light flashing on the battery there. You can probably barely see it right there. But we need to know these things. I'm going to go ahead and cut this bird off. And I'm going to cut the transmitter off. Charge flight battery. Battery is too low for flying. Well, that is true. Now it doesn't do that crazy 200-foot climb because it doesn't have the power to. But what we did, we found out exactly what happens when the battery gets so low. Do I get it? So low? Okay, enough of my corny jokes. This is Birdman 316, and I hope we all learned something today from this second flight. This is flight number 2 of the Solo, 3DR Solo. Stock props, no camera, stock everything. This is Birdman 316. Sayonara.